So this is by the Mind Journal, and it basically is saying that there's 2 types of zodiacs for every sign, meaning each zodiac has 2 versions of it. So let's get into it. Type 1, the Aries. The Aries is seen as super aggressive, loud. Type 1, and will literally fight everything. Type 2 is seen as a cute little ball of sunshine who keeps pretty quiet, but will basically unalive you with their bare hands if they need to. Now, I kind of agree with this. Now, let's look at the Taurus. So there's 2 types of Tauruses. Type 1 is seen as like a couch potato, and I've always said that Tauruses, I feel like, are foodies. Foodies. They like to do a lot of things that involve the word F, and also or foodie. So if they're not doing one or the other, they're doing something. And the other Taurus is actually more of like an Aphrodite goddess, like just a pure sensual being of love and serenity. The Gemini, the 2 types, the first type is like the serial killer type, the Jeffrey Dahmers. And then the other Gemini is just seen as moody, having like mood swings, and is kind of like a sad human being. I don't know about that. I do not know about that. Because for the most part, I haven't seen too many sad Geminis unless they are a serial killer. And then the other type of Cancer. So we've got 2 Cancers in here. Okay. The first Cancer, really overly protective and cries a lot. Like boo-hoo. Kind of agree with that. The second type of Cancer, super sassy and has never cried in their life. I can see that too. Now, the Leo type is super self-absorbent and obnoxious. Some people would call that confidence, okay? Some people would call that confidence. Can you guys give the Leo its credit? And then the second type is a little insecure, but still pretty prideful and pretty chill and funny. The Virgo, on the most part, is super organized. This is type 1 and almost like a germaphobe. But then the other side of the Virgo is like totally the opposite, and has basically is a hot ass mess and can't keep their life together. And they basically say, bruh, have you seen my bed? The Libra, there's 2 types of Libra. One's a social butterfly and is quite fashionable. I will say some Libras are pretty fashionable. And then the next is just like a complete homebody and is wearing sweats on the pants, and is just like big t-shirts and is basically a Netflix addict. Scorpio. Okay, I love a Scorpio. Scorpio vibes are so cool. The first Scorpio is seen as super sexy, evil, and like an emotional evil wreck. And then the funny Scorpio is 2. Okay, I actually have a friend who's a Scorpio, and she is pretty funny. She's pretty chill. And she's sarcastic, and they said like, you know, the Scorpio has like that dark humor, and they're funny, and they're also like a sarcastic jerk, their second side. Now the Sagittarius, I will say I know a lot of Sagittariuses, so I'm going to tell you if I believe this is true. The first one loves to travel, stays high, but very wise. So I think maybe like a little bit of a philosopher. And I would say, yes, a lot of Sagittarius that I know, they just have that natural thing about them. The other type of Sagittarius is a perfectionist to the dog meme, to the Doge meme. So they're basically like a perfectionist, personification to the Doge meme, whatever the fuck that means. I don't know. I personally think they could be seen as very naive. Capricorn, workaholic. First type, of course, conservative, workaholic. And they say that they're basically probably a Republican. The second type of Capricorn definitely has never done any assignments ever. They're just super unresponsible. I could kind of see that. Yeah, I could kind of see that. Aquarius, God. Type 1, type 2, alien. Now, I do not disagree with this whatsoever. If the Aquarius does not see themselves as God, they probably see themselves as, why am I even here dealing with these humans? I don't get it. Some type of extraterrestrial force. Pisces, type 1 is a crybaby. Oh, same with the Cancer. They just automatically say crybaby and too sensitive. And then the type 2 is a stoner that never talks. You know, I feel like they're not giving the Pisces the drive and the focus that a lot of Pisces have. I always say some Pisces are very driven, but a stoner that never talks about their feelings. I could also see a Pisces being like that. Let me know what you think. Do you think these two zodiacs are correct?